A number of national commentators said 3 weeks ago that the Heisman Trophy race was a done deal. It's over. Give it to Geno Smith right now. Mark Rogers TV, 3 weeks later, we've played a lot of college football, especially Saturday's action, and we've got a wide open Heisman Trophy race now. And you know what? Geno Smith is not on the ballot. We start with Ohio State quarterback Braxton Miller. 57% completion percentage, 3,000 total yards, 26 total touchdowns, 14 throwing, 6 picks. His pluses. Number one is that his team is undefeated, and he got him there. The offense rests on him. He got him to 10-0. And then secondly is that he's a dynamic player. He's made a lot of spectacular plays with his arm and with his legs. The minuses, the Big Ten's down. Ohio State's best opponent to date is Nebraska. Michigan's got 3 losses, so that last game of the regular season is not going to help him a whole lot. And then also, even though this is a regular season award, Ohio State's banned from postseason play. Can't play for the Big Ten title or the national championship. And there could be a perception that Braxton Miller is playing games that are meaningless. That's going to hurt him. All right, the front runner going into the weekend certainly was Kansas State quarterback Collin Klein. 71% completion percentage, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks, 29 total touchdowns, and 2,500 yards total. This guy's got no letdowns. He's brought it every week, especially against the big opponents on K-State's schedule. Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, West Virginia. He's been great, week in, week out, consistent. Also, there's a perception that Kansas State doesn't have a whole lot of talent or speed, so it's all on Collin Klein. He has carried this team to 9-0. That's the perception. The minus, and we've only got one, is the wrist injury that he suffered in the third quarter against Oklahoma State. He didn't play the fourth quarter, and it's not been reported the severity of the injury. So we don't know if he's going to miss the last 3 games, which would basically throw away his chances, or if it's going to affect his play, even if he can play K-State's last 3 games. All right, on to Alabama quarterback A.J. McCarron. 67% complete, 1,900 yards, 19 touchdowns against no picks, and he's got gives us nothing on the ground though. All right, A.J. McCarron has got a national championship already. He's already a national championship quarterback. He's also quarterbacking the consensus #1 team. That can't hurt. And then he had his Heisman moment. This was huge on Saturday night. Trailing LSU, a top 5 team in Death Valley. He goes 72 yards, completes 4 consecutive passes, throws the game winner to Yeldon, and it's already in Alabama lore. A.J. McCarron with a comeback 21-17 win in Death Valley. So that probably vaulted him to the top of most lists out there. The minuses, well, before Saturday night, A.J. McCarron, game manager, hadn't been pressed against the wall in Alabama's schedule. They dominated everyone, and really anybody can quarterback this team. It doesn't have to be him. He's a game manager. Just don't mess things up. Well, he kind of nixed that perception on Saturday night, and again, probably vaulted himself to #1. Then we've got Oregon's Kenyan Barner, who shot up the list with his performance against USC. For the season, he's at 1,300 yards rushing, 1,500 total, 7.2 per carry, 20 total touchdowns. But again, it was that USC game on Saturday. So Oregon finally played somebody, and Kenyan Barner was the star. 321 yards rushing, 5 TDs, 347 total offense, and he shot his name into the category, into the discussion. Also, he's a flashy player. He's fun to watch. That's got to help. And also, those Oregon uniforms can't hurt either. Or maybe they do. I don't know. All right, the minuses for Kenyan Barner. #1 is that he seems to be interchangeable as well. LaMichael James did the same thing for this offense a few years back, and he shares carries with DeAnthony Thomas. But again, on the big stage against USC, Oregon's first big opponent, he got the carries, and he came through with 5 TDs and 321 on the ground. All right, Manti, Notre Dame linebacker. He's got 85 total tackles, 1.5 sacks, 5 picks. Those are the stats. They don't mean a whole lot, really. Okay, what means a lot are the pluses for him is that he's been a great player all through his college career. People know him going into his senior season. But more than that is that he's a great story. His grandmother and his girlfriend passed away leading into the Michigan State game, and he performed. He's an inspirational leader. People like him. He's a good guy. It's a great story. He's got all the intangibles. But let's not forget, again, he's a great, great player. He's projected to be a great NFL player, and he's leading a top Notre Dame defense. The minuses, well, he doesn't have eye-popping stats. Well, linebacker stats really are tough to measure as is for most people. So he's not a quarterback, wide receiver, running back. And so it's difficult to say whether the stats help him or hurt him. He's got the intangibles. And also, it's not like he's a defensive end and he's got 20 sacks or something. Again, the stats mean nothing. It's more about the story, the team being undefeated, and that he is a great leader and a great player on a front seven that is dominant. All right, now we go with the guy that's been thrust into the conversation, at least we think he should be, Texas A&M redshirt freshman quarterback Johnny Manziel. Johnny Football, 16 TDs passing, 6 interceptions. He's got 3,400 yards and 31 total touchdowns. That trumps Klein and Braxton Miller and McCarron. Okay, the pluses for Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, is right there. The eye-popping stats. He set the SEC total offense record against Arkansas. Then he broke it a couple weeks later against Louisiana Tech. On top of that, he's a good story too. He's a Texas high school football legend who was supposed to be the backup for A&M this season, but he took over the job from Jamil Showers. Showers was supposed to be the starter and was the front runner heading into the fall, but Johnny Manziel took it over on August 16th and has not looked back. The minuses, and this one I don't understand, he's a freshman, and a lot of people won't vote for a freshman. It's the best player in college football. Doesn't matter. It should almost be a credit to him that he's a freshman. And secondly, Texas A&M has lost its 2 toughest games against LSU and Florida. But the big key for Johnny Manziel is coming up on Saturday when A&M goes to Alabama to take on the #1 Tide. That's his Heisman moment. He's either going to blow it or he's going to come through and put himself seriously in the discussion. If A&M wins at Alabama and Johnny Football plays well, wow, that's going to mean a lot. All right, we've broken it down. Here's our top 5 for the Heisman Trophy with about 3 weeks to play in the college football season. Number 1, Collin Klein. Number 2, we're going with A.J. McCarron. Number 3, Braxton Miller. Number 4, Manti. Number 5, we've got Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. And number 6, Kenyan Barner. Now, we need to hear from you. We'd like to hear your Heisman candidates and your number 1 guy here on Mark Rogers TV.